Greetings, I am the Board Gaming Bard, and today I'm going to talk to you about Dead Men Tell No Tales. In this game, we are ruthless pirates, and there's this nasty legendary ship called the Skeleton's Revenge that we've been dying to sink our teeth into. We've finally taken her, but now our cannons have crushed the soul of the ship. The ship is in flames, and we need to get aboard it and loot its treasure before it sinks. But not only is the ship on fire, but there's a dead crew of skeletons roaming the ship trying to kill us all. And we need to get out of there before the ship explodes, sinks to the depths, or before we are taken over by these undead creatures. Bring the loot off the ship, back to the dinghies under our own ship, and head off and set sail again. And let's see how that works. Alright, now here we have set up a two-player game. We have our two player boards here for each character, and we have our main board here, which is going to continue to grow throughout the game with these tiles, which will continue to place on them. Now, we've finally taken over the Skeleton's Revenge. We're ready to jump onto the ship and start plundering its treasure. But unfortunately, we've destroyed it so much that it's on fire, flames are blazing, and we need to get this treasure before it burns and sinks to the depths. So that's where we start out. We're here on these little dinghies here on the side of the ship, either starboard or port side. We've arrived, we're going to climb onto the ship and start going through. But like I said, there's fires everywhere, and that's what all these dice are for. We have red and yellow dice, which coincide with different types of fire. And each one has different level on it. So this is a level 1 fire, which is really low. It's not going to do much to us going through that room. It's got a long ways to go before it explodes. We start out with these 4 rooms on the starting board, and there's 4 different fires. And there's a fire in each one of those rooms at different intensities. All rolled and all random, except they can't be a 6. Once a room gets to a level 6 fire, the room explodes and you cannot enter that room anymore. So if there was treasure in that room, the treasure is lost forever. And you need to find 5 treasure tokens, which you'll see what those are just here in a minute. 4 for the starting game. Depending on what level, you can search for more treasure if you want it to be a harder game. But I'm doing just the basic. We're going to look for 4 treasure chests, pick them up, haul them off to our own ship, to the dinghy actually, and once all 4 treasures are off the ship and everybody's still alive, then we win the game. So we start out here beside the ship and we're going to climb on board. Now, you have 5 actions per turn, and actions are kept track using these doubloons. Each person gets 5 to keep track of their actions, except for Lydia Lamore over here. That's this character. She actually gets 6 actions instead of 5. So she gets 1 more action. Now, Whitebeard here, his special ability is the player is fatigued by 1 less than normal, except during battle. Now, fatigue is kept track by this little circular dial here. You get fatigued by walking into fire. Now, right here is a level 2 fire. They're entering into the center room right here. And since there's no fire here, they're entering into a level 2 fire. That means you're going to get fatigued by 2. You get fatigued by the difference of fire. So this dial goes 1, 2. And except that's Whitebeard, not Lydia. But you get the idea. So if you're going from a level 2 room to a level 4, then you're actually going to get fatigued by 2 because it's the difference, 4 minus 2. And that's how you get fatigued throughout the game. And once you get down here, see at 5 it says there's a 5 die there. There's a 4 die here, and a 3 and a 2. So once you get past those spots, you're too tired to enter a room of that intensity of fire. So once you get here, you cannot enter level 5 fires anymore. Here at level 4s, here at level 3s, you just can't do it anymore. You're too tired, so you have to rest. And you can rest as an action to be able to build up your fatigue again, or not build up your fatigue, but to rest so you're not as fatigued so you can enter other rooms again. So your actions that you can do per turn, he can do 5, she can do 6. So 1 is to walk, so that's moving into 1 room. Actually, before I continue on to that, the beginning of every turn is, we're going to start with Whitebeard here. You have to flip over these tiles to expand the ship. You're exploring the ship. So you flip over the first tile, and you have to look at it. So there's a door here on the bottom, a door here, and a door here. So they have to line up doors on there already. I can't put it like that because there's a door here but not there. So the doors all have to line up. So, I mean, it could go here, it could go here. I'm going to put it like that. And if you notice, Oh, that was a 3. If you notice, there is a 2 red die on it. So we take a red die from our pool of dice. Number 2 goes on it. And you'll also notice, actually, that there's a barrel on the bottom with the number 4. Now, they don't all have barrels, but the ones that do, you have to be careful. Because once this reaches 4, the barrel explodes. It's a barrel of gunpowder, and it explodes. The room doesn't explode, but it does raise the fire level of the room outside this door. So you do have to be careful of that. And every explosion, whether it's a room exploding, when it gets to a level 6 fire, or if it's a barrel exploding, this explosion track goes up. And once it gets to the skull and crossbones down here, we lose the game. So you have to keep the fire under control. You can't let it build up and get too high, because first of all, you're not going to be able to go through certain rooms, and secondly, the explosion track will get to the top and we're all going to die. Now, you normally flip over 1 tile at the beginning of your turn, but for everybody's first turn, everybody flips over 2. Just for your first turn, just to get things rolling, getting the ship explored a little more. So it's 3 doors again, only a level 1 fire, which isn't too bad. So I'm going to put this one here, continue down this corridor, making this corridor longer. So I get a die here, level 1 fire there. So now we did our 2 tiles, and now Whitebeard is going to start. And he gets 5 actions he can do. So the one is you can walk, which he is going to do. He's the white guy. He's going to walk into this room. It has to be this room. He can't enter here or here. This is the only enter and exit right now off the ship. It's into this center room here. Now it's a level 2 fire. And we came from 0, so he gets 2 fatigue. Now he could have ran as well, which I'm going to get him to do here now. Oh, oops. That die's supposed to be there too. Sorry, I forgot again. Every time you explore a new room, you have this little bag of goodies here, and surprises will be coming out. So there could be skeletons, because this is an undead crew. It's not just a crew of nasty pirates. They're all skeletons and undead, as you can see here. So this is one of the ones. It's a level 4 skeleton, and he is protecting some rum. And this is a level 3 skeleton, and he's also protecting some rum. So they go into the rooms we just explored. And yeah. So now Whitebeard's going to want to get some of that rum. Now rum, what it does is it's an action of rest. So you can use one of your actions. He used an action to walk. He could use another action to rest. And resting pushes your fatigue backwards 2 each time you rest. So he'd be back at 0, which would be great. But he's not going to worry about that right now. He's only at 2, and you can go all the way up to 15 before you die. But once you get to skull and crossbones, you're dead with your fatigue. So he could walk. He did. He walked. He went into the room, and he got his fatigue of 2. Now he's thinking about running. He's thinking about running over here to this skeleton because he really wants to get some rum. But before he does that, he's going to have to he's going to build up his strength. And to build up your strength is another action. So to build up your strength, you see this little progress bar here on the bottom. It has a little token with his picture on it. And what you can do is you use one action to build up your strength, and you push it up 1. Now what that does, it adds, see, +1, +2, +3, +4 to your die roll. So when you're fighting this skeleton, he's a level 4, you need to roll a 4 or higher. But now, because he built up his strength once, he only has to roll a 3 or higher, because this adds a +1 to his die roll. And he likes those odds a little better than having to roll just a 4 or more. So that was his second action. His third action, he's going to run. Now running is the same as walking, except you go into two different rooms. So for his third action, he's going to run. He's going to run. So walking was just moving 1, but running can go 2 rooms. Now he went from a 2 to a 1. He went down in intensity, so he doesn't lose any. He doesn't gain any fatigue. But going from a 1 to a 2 here, he gains 1 more. But because he ran instead of walking, you automatically gain 2 more fatigue. So now he's up to 5. So now he cannot enter any rooms with level 5 fire at all. But luckily there are none. The highest right now is a 3. So he ran, he gained his fatigue, and now as soon as you enter a room with a skeleton, you have to fight. There is no choice. So take up this black die and roll. So he needs a 3 or higher because it's level 4, but he gets +1 on his roll. So let's see what he does. And it's a 5. Perfect. So monster's defeated. fighting doesn't take actions, but if he wants to pick up that token, that takes an action, which he's going to do. He's going to pick up that token, he's going to put it over here on his board to remind him that he has it. And see, it's a rum of 5, so it means he can rest 5 points, which he's at 5 right now. But he's not going to worry about it right now. He's still got a ways to go before he needs to drink that rum to boost his morale. Now this stays here where it is, but if it was a 3 that he rolled, he'd need to use that +1, so he would use it and he would go down. But let's say he was up here at +4. He really was nervous. He really boosted up to make sure he was going to win. If he still rolled a 3 and he needed to use 1, it would still go all the way back to the bottom. So you either use it all or none of it. But luckily he didn't have to use it. He won with a die. So that was his 4 actions so far. I believe it. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Yeah, so yeah, that was his 4. So, and now you can eliminate a deckhand, as well as another action you can do. To eliminate a deckhand, these are little deckhands here. Once there's 2 in a room, you cannot pick up any tokens, like he just did. He just picked up this token. You can't pick any up in that room if there's 2 of these guys in a room. Now, if there's 3 of them in a room, you cannot even enter that room. So these guys can become a little bit of a pest. And so for an action, you can discard them into the little pool over there, in the room you're in, or in an adjacent room with a connecting door. That can be used as an action, because eventually, when that pile runs out, and we're supposed to put deckhands on here, and we can't put any more out here anymore, we've lost the game. Right now, they're not that big of a deal. They'll keep spawning throughout the game, but right now there's only one. He's not too worried about it. He's not gonna bother. So what he's gonna do, he's just gonna use a rest action again, and that is his 5th action. So we can put these back here to restart. That was his turn. Now, at the end of your turn, you have to flip over the fire deck to see what's going to happen. So, on these cards, what you can see is the die. This one doesn't have a number on it. They will or will not, most of them do, because they'll tell you that any red die that's on there with, let's say, a 2 or a 3, I'll see if I can find another one here. So for this one, for example, all yellow 2s, all the fires that are yellow 2s will go up to a 3. But this one is if there's any red dice that are gone, because you can also decrease the fires, which I haven't shown you yet. I'll show you that in a minute. But there are none. All the reds have dice on them. And also, so the fire doesn't raise anywhere, but that little symbol at the bottom means any trapdoors will now spawn these little deckhands. So that's this symbol right here. So that spawns a deckhand. So now there's 2 in that room, so if there's a token there, we could not pick it up. But we're not too worried about it at the moment. So that's the end of his turn. Now we move on to Lydia's turn. And again, first turn, she starts out with putting 2 of these down. So this has 3 doors again, and she's going to put it, you know what, she's going to put it like this, way up here. And it's a red 4, goes there. We go into our little bag of goodies and find out who goes there. This, yeah, one of those trap doors that just spawned those deckhands. Another one is in that room. So she has to pick up a second tile because it's her first turn, and 4 doors this time, and she's going to put that right here. That seems like a good spot. And another red 4. So now, oh, yeah, the bag of goodies. Another trapdoor. So now, she can start doing action. And again, she gets 6. So she's going to start out. These 4s are making her a bit nervous. So she's going to run 1, 2. So she goes up 2 for going into a level 2 from level 0. And plus, she ran, so she gains another 2, so she's at 4. And then, that was her first action. So now she's going to go into this room. She's going to walk. She goes from a level 1 to a level 4, so she loses 3 fatigue. She gains 3 fatigue. So now she can't enter any level 5 rooms. And now for an action that you can do, you can decrease the fire in that room. So actually you can change this 4 down to a 3. And that's how you can eventually get them with no dice, because someone could go into this room with his level 1 and decrease it to 0. But then this card that we picked up would have put back a 1 again. But so she ran there, she decreased the fire to a 3, and now she's going to rest a bit because she's at 7. So now she's at 5, and then she's going to run again. Here, she's going to decrease that one. So she went from a 3 to a 1, which doesn't do anything, but then a 1 to a 4. So that's 3 fatigue again to 3, but she ran, so she gets 2 more. She cannot be in that room now. Down here, she says here, level 4 room, the die, she cannot be in that room now. So she either has to leave or decrease the fire. So she's going to use another action to decrease the fire to a 3. Now she can stay in that room. Now she's got 2 actions left. So she's going to rest for 1 and then increase her battle strength for another. And that's her turn. And now we have to flip over this deck here. And this has any red and yellow 1s increase. So if we have any 1s, so this red one here goes to a 2, that goes to a 2, that goes to a, no, that goes to a 2, and this goes to a 2. So 3 of the fires in the rooms have increased. And at this bottom, right here, is the skeleton. So that means all the skeletons move. So there's only 1 right now, but they always move towards the nearest pirate. So that would be Whitebeard here. So he moves there. And once they're in the same room together, they have to fight. There is no option. But luckily, he's only a level 3. So he takes the die, and it's a 3. He defeated him, didn't have to use his +1. And he's quite happy with that. So you flip him over because he was defeated. Another bottle of rum with 4 rest on it. So that's the end of her turn. Now move on to Whitebeard's again. Now, Whitebeard is thinking maybe picking up that rum. But first, let's flip over a tile. You only have to do 1 now, but if you wanted it to be a harder game again, you could have people flip over 2 tiles every single game if you wished. But we're just going to do 1. So 3 doors again. He's going to put this one up here. And bag of goodies brings out, what's it give me? A level 6 skeleton. But now, these guys are always guarding treasure. And this is what we need to find. We need to get this treasure, get them off the ship before the ship sinks. So, he's a level 6 though. He goes over here in this room, way over here, and it's a level 3 yellow. So now he's not going to focus too much on that treasure because Lydia's already over there. So we can wait 1 turn for her to go get it. He's not going to be too concerned about it. So he's going to just focus on these fires over here. So he's going to move 1 from a 2 to a 3. So he gains a fatigue for that. He's going to turn that down for a second action. Sorry, 1, 2 actions. His third action, he's going to get one of these deckhands. And fourth action, he's going to build up his battle strength again, just to keep himself prepared. And you know what? He's going to lower this to a 1. Might as well. So those are his 5 actions. So now we flip over the fire deck again. Same as last time. All red and yellow 2s increase and all skeletons move. But luckily, oh, there is 1 skeleton out there, but the ones that guard the treasure do not move. These guys never move. It's only the other ones that are like 4s and 3s. So all red, all 2s. So this 2 goes up to a 3, this 2 goes up to a 3, this 2 goes up to a 3. Yikes, this 2 goes up to a 3, and this 2 goes up to a 3. So there's a lot of 3s. So if it's nice to have the numbers a bit scattered, so that way not all the fire starts raising at once. If he was in the, if this one, if you would have left this as a 2, it would have raised with him in it, which means that his fatigue would have gone up 1 as well. But that's the end of his turn, and now we're going to move on to Lydia's turn. And now she wants to focus on getting that treasure way up there in the corner. But first we got to do one of these. So only one door into this room. So we're going to end this corridor right here. Mainly doing that because I'm running out of space on this room to go, on this table to go this way. So it's a level 3 dice or die. We go to our little bag of goodies again to see what's going to spawn there. And it is a level 5. And this level 5 is guarding a cutlass. Now the bonus to these cutlasses, like I've said before, if he ever had to use even just one of his battle strength, he'd lose it all. But if he was able to kill this skeleton and take this cutlass from him, he could then place it right here. I hope you can see that. Right here. So that way when he has to use his battle strength, he only goes down this far because that's blocked. Doesn't go down all the way anymore. He's always guaranteed +1. And he can fill all these up to level 3, all of these with cutlasses, so you'll always be at +4. So that's what he'd like to do, actually, now that he knows he's that close to that skeleton. And now, so you flip that over, it's Lydia's turn right now. So she's going to build up her battle strength some more. I'm going to use her tokens again here. So use her battle strength some more. And maybe one more time because she's a little nervous, she's a little strong. And then for an action, another action you can do, which I haven't explained yet, is you can swap items. Way up there on the top, you can see that there's a bunch of action cards. Way up there, the same as, well, not action cards, but like accessories there. Item cards, same as they have on top of their boards. So for an action, you can swap them. She has run, which means you can take 1 free rest per turn. But she doesn't want this. She's going to discard it and grab this pistol. Now, the pistol, you can attack from an adjacent room. So if you lose the fight, for example, it's not going to affect you. Usually if you lose the fight, you gain fatigue based on the difference of the dice rolls. So if she was fighting that level 6 up there for the treasure, and she rolled a 4, she would then lose 2 fatigue. There's the difference. He's a 6, she rolled a 4. So she would, lose. But if she had, let's say, 1 battle strength, she could choose to use that 1 battle strength to bring her up to a 5, still doesn't beat him, but then she'd only lose 1 fatigue, gain 1 fatigue instead of 2. But with the pistol, she's shooting from the adjacent room. She doesn't have to worry about losing any fatigue. So that's what she's going to do. She's going to attack. She can use this once per turn. Recant it to remind us that she used it. So her one action is attacking. Or you have to do it. It takes an action to attack with your pistol. Sorry. So level 6, she has +3, so she needs a 3 or more, which is pretty good odds. So let's see if she does it. And she does a 3. So she shot through the door and got the skeleton. So now the treasure is there, ready for her to take it. She moves into the next room from a 3 to a 3. So no fatigues taken, but it does take an action. And then she uses an action to pick up that treasure. And she puts it on her board to remind her that she's carrying it. Because when you're carrying treasure, it's called looting. There's less things you can do. And it says here right on the bottom, this card here tells you all the actions you can do. Walk, run, you can lower fire, eliminate deckhands, pick up tokens, rest, increase your battle strength, or swap an item card. But at the bottom, under this little division line, these are the only things you can do while you're looting, when you're carrying the treasure off the ship. So you can walk from one room to another, but the fatigue changes. So from here, if she went from here to here, 3 to 3, normally it would mean that she wouldn't gain any fatigue because it's going from a 3 to a 3, there's no difference. But when you're carrying, it's a heavy load. It takes a lot more energy, so you gain the fatigue of whatever room you're going into. So she went from this 3 to this 3. She went into a level 3 room, so she gains 3 fatigue automatically. And that's how the fatigue works when you're looting. And in addition to that, you can rest. You can lower your fatigue level by 2. So you can walk, you can rest, or you can swipe item cards. Those are the only actions you can do when you're looting treasure. If you want to do anything else, if you want to pick up a token, if you want to lower fire, you have to use one of your actions to put that treasure back down to be able to do one of those other actions. And then use an action again to pick it back up. So she has one action left. She's going to use it to move here, and she's down. She's gained 3 fatigue. So that's the, oh, and then we got, sorry, that was her actions. Flip over this card. So all red and yellow 5s. Now also the symbol at the bottom is an explosion symbol. Once you've had all 3 of these, there's 3 of them in the deck. Once all 3 of them have been taken out, you reshuffle the deck again to start over. So I usually put these to the side down here to remind me how many of them are out. But all 5s raise up to 6s. And 6s are bad because 6s are explosions. But there's no 5s. We've been pretty good at keeping track of keeping the fire under control. But if any 5s went up to 6s, each one of those rooms would explode. And I'm going to show you how that works here just in a second, just to show you how it works. So that was a 5, let's say. Went up to a 6, room exploded, gets flipped over. That room is now no longer accessible. Actually, it would work better if I did, I'll say this room. As you can see, now if she was there trying to make it back, she'd now have to go this way. And so exploding rooms can really block it off, especially when the ship really starts to grow. Out here and one of the middle ones explode, and it takes you extra time to get all the way around and back to your dinghy. So exploding rooms are bad, and they also raise 1 on the explosion track, getting closer and closer to death, which is down at the bottom. And now also, when a powder keg explodes, which is right here, so if this raises 1 more to a 4, this keg explodes, and then it raises the fire level in this adjacent room up to 2. So that's how, and then again, an explosion, so this goes up the track. And you keep doing this, keep going back on your turns, you can swap items back and forth. And also, if he didn't want to use all of his actions, he could say he used 3. I'm just going to do 3 actions. Using 2 more would just be a waste. I'm going to pass them to the person to my left, and she can now use those extra actions. She can't keep them though, like she can't keep onto them for the next turn and keep passing them around the circle if there's more than 2 players. Once she uses those 2 first actions of hers, they go back to Whitebeard. So that's the basic idea of the game. You're trying to get through the ship, get all the treasure, get off the ship, manage the fire, so you're swapping items and really try, and it is quite a difficult game. So that's the basic idea of Dead Men Tell No Tales. Now that was Dead Men Tell No Tales. Now if you're interested in reading a short story based on my gameplay through this game, you can go to my blog at houseofsprag.wordpress.com under Board Gaming Bard, and you can read my experience through this game and other games as well. So keep playing and keep telling stories.